right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talking Chickens number 46 with Matt and Mike from an M&M Exhibition Poultry. And today, when we say we've known someone all their lives, we've known this one all of her life.
Pretty
We
much.
welcome Abbie Summers. She's the secretary of the Wyandotte Bantam Breeders of America. Breeds Wyandottes.
Just Wyandottes. They merged them.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah, we used to belong to the Wyandotte Bantam Breeders. Now it's Wyandotte Breeders.
Yep.
Yeah. They need all the help they can get. They should all stick together anyway. So I agree with that. Abbie is the daughter of Mark Palin.
Yep. Mark and Jeannie.
Just going to say your mom's name. Just takes me a minute to remember everybody. I've known forever. And Jeannie Palin. Mark has always raised some really nice partridge Wyandottes. And they've got rose combs. And I remember when you were little, you had leghorns.
I did.
Was there reds there somewhere?
My mom had reds.
Yep. That's what I thought. So for a family that's done this for a long, long time. So before we get started, Matt, how about some updates? We got any?
I don't really have a lot. I think we covered it with we got a lot of comments and feedback from the new poultry show program that Ethan had, and hopefully he gets that out. And like I said, they're debuting it at the Congress, so we look forward to seeing that. But I was at a pigeon show Saturday and had a lot of interest from the pigeon show guys about using it because they use old spreadsheets and access programs that's kind of not as intuitive as what Ethan described. And so we're looking forward to that. And one thing about Abbie here, she was one of the very first people to go through our junior program back in the 90s. So,
I remember well.
Yeah.
I've got a story.
She was probably the smallest one. She's probably the smallest one, but her and Emily and that whole crew, they kind of come up through that new program to what we have today. So we're looking forward to getting her perspective on what she thinks, how we're going, and I'm blessed that she's still in it.
Yep, me too. Yep, it's a good thing. I don't have much. I spent Saturday and Sunday, all day Saturday and a little bit on Sunday up to the Eagle Nest Hatchery. That's probably why I'm so sore and can't move.
Tell them how many birds you moved.
Well, it's got to be 1,500 if it's one. I've never seen that many waterfowl. When we got done, I've got a couple shorts I took. If you'll look on Facebook, the Facebook page, there's been some put up already by Caitlin. Caitlin was there. Caitlin Rozier. Well, it's not Rozier now, but
Cameron.
Caitlin. Caitlin Cameron, and her husband was there. It was myself. It was Wyatt Burnside. It was I'm going to forget people now. Sarah Batts was there. Jordan, who's been a family friend for years of Dustin's and also worked for the same company that I did and Dustin does now. They were there, and I've got someone that keeps trying to call me about something. He was there. His sister was there. So there was a crew of us, but I have never seen that many waterfowl in my life.
Wow.
That 200-foot barn, when you look down through there, it's just, you go from runner ducks and it just keeps on going. And when you get clear from this end of 200 foot, you can look down and you see those Emdens clear at the other end. He's got a whole lot there. That was kind of a different. You heard waterfowl about like you heard anything else. The chickens, we of course moved them by hand instead of going into a trailer into the barn and barn into pens and all that sorting. So that was pretty interesting. They're still sorting today. I do know that the big green hatcher, I believe was on today. They're working on getting it turned on. They got a lot more venting done. The exhibition poultry barn. Justin kept saying he won't need all those pens.
He needed all those pens.
Yeah, well, we needed all those pens, so we've got that. I'm going back up after Christmas, sometime after Christmas and New Year, and do a little bit more changing things around and what goes with what. But it's coming. It's quite an undertaking. So if you call them and no one answers, don't give up. They're real busy, but he's getting everybody as soon as he can. So
I've been
looking forward to that.
All the Facebook questions that I can field on there to try to take some of the load off. If you didn't get an answer, it's because Dustin needs to answer you. So
Yeah, exactly.
he'll get to it when he gets time to sit down. We got some bad news. His old an old friend of ours and his grandpa Bill Hirschner died today.
Today,
So
yeah.
that's going to set back a little bit. Hate to hear it. And Bill was
Yeah,
a good guy, was a long time 4-H advisor, and him and Dustin run a string for years around Ohio, Indiana, Illinois. So
Yeah,
sorry to hear that.
He was a good dude. I always you could never get one over on him. God knows I tried. I always called him the checkbook when he'd come around, but Bill was one of those old time farmers. I mean, he was really a good man. So, and our condolences go out to the whole family and everybody in that area. I don't know, you've probably never been there, but there's probably many small towns all over the country. We're in the county that they're in. Everybody knows everybody, where everybody knows everybody there. And Bill had a lot of friends, a lot of family, and a lot of friends. So, all right. So, but we move on. We keep on going. Our condolences are out to them. Now let's get to a little bit more pleasant news. Let's welcome Abbie.
Hi.
Abbie Summers. Used to be Abbie Palin.
Yep.
To the show. Abbie, we usually start this thing off with kind of run part of it, but you kind of tell us the start, how you got started coming up, and then we'll interject as we go from there, and we'll just keep on rolling.
Sounds good. Well, I started about 1997. I believe that's right around the time that we all started. My dad was good friends with Doc Patterson, Bill's dad. I know everybody calls Bill Doc now, but the original Doc Patterson. And that's how my dad got started in the Partridge Wyandottes. And that's how I started out with Leghorns, were from Bill. So I had dark brown and light brown Leghorns. And then later on in life, I had white Wyandottes for a little while, but not too long. When Doc passed away, I inherited all of the golden sea brights he had. So I worked with those a lot. My mom used to take care of all of Doc's birds. About Tuesday and Thursday, we'd always go over to Doc's, and I would sit in front of that pen of sea brights, feeding them little black seeds. Doc hated it because they were so tame for me being around. But once I got into the sea brights, I worked with Les Stone a lot. And then I mostly did Leghorns after that. We quit showing right after Crossroads of 2006 it was. We took a break for quite a while. So later on in life, I want to say around 2016, it was right after I got married, I said to my husband, I'm like, I really just want chickens again. So we went down to Ohio National, and I picked up some Bantam roll-down reds from Rick Bond. And I had those for a short time. And they just weren't my thing. I wasn't feeling it. So I got some Leghorns again from Don Schreider, and I ended up hating them. They're too loud, flighty. I just couldn't handle them anymore. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go back to Wyandottes. I always wanted Wyandottes from seeing them at Doc's. So I started out with whites. I just got some, whatever I could find at the sale barn in Ohio. And then later on, I got really good friends with Connor Ritchie, and he helped me get a really good line going. So now I'm just focusing away on those.
Good deal. I laugh because your dark browns were so tame that
they were.
And I actually got a pair of dark brown Bantams from Don Schredder at Columbus this year, and I always wanted them. And I had rosecomb whites before. They all went to Eagle's Nest because for that reason that you said, they're just absolutely insane. These dark browns are not. They are, when I go to feed them, they come right to the door to me. The male wants to attack me. Yeah. And I'm going to have to do a video of them because I've never seen Leghorns other than my big dark browns when I had them. They're this tame, and And yeah, I'm they're tamer than anything I have. So they broke that mold.
The Chanticleers are growing on me that my dad has. Those might
It's
become
a
a
neat bird, and they're fairly tame too. They don't get too bent as long as you kept them fed.
Right. A new
Yeah, they
project
like
my
to
dad
eat.
and I are starting we got some Colombian Wyandottes, so we're gonna start working on that next. Kind of like as a partner thing, I think.
Good deal. You'll have to watch our Gary Rossman podcast because he gave a lot of good Colombian tips because he's been
My
working on
dad
it
has
for
told
quite a
me
while.
he's the #1 fan of the podcast. I hear all about it. I'm behind. I gotta catch up.
All right.
Good
My
deal.
first memory, I think it was 97 or 98 when you were, I don't know, that tall.
Before,
And you walked all over the place with a leghorn, a brown leghorn. You constantly had a brown leghorn. Yeah. I mean, everywhere. A female, I think,
Yep.
if I remember right. I don't know if it was light or dark brown.
She was dark. I always had a dark.
Okay. And you were in my Pee Wee showmanship class, or the younger one, and I said, "What do you got there?" And you said, "Oh, a chicken." I said, "All right, what do you feed that chicken?" And you went, "Duh, chicken feed." And I thought, I don't really know her, but this kid's going places.
That's smart. My
It
son's
sticks
like,
out. It sticks out in my mind after all these years, and the thousands of kids. I mean, there's a few other ones, but there's thousands of kids that chicken feed. Like, come
obviously.
on. So I remember that. But my how things have changed. So how did you get into being secretary of the Wyandotte Breeders of America?
I kind of handed myself over to the devil. I know they needed help, and they were struggling on keeping points all situated and how to organize it. So I was like, can I please just try to help? I'm kind of familiar with using Excel and keeping all paperwork. And our secretary at the time, she's getting out of chickens and she wanted to hand it over, which completely understandable. So I just slowly started helping, and they're like, do you want to be secretary? I said, yep. So I think I'm probably going to be in there for life. But it's nice.
That's the way that works.
We're growing a lot. We just started taking dues here back in June, and we already have 78 members just from that, and then 32 original lifetime members, which both of you are included in that. I thank you very much. But we're hoping to keep that going and build the education part. We're working on a youth program for just Wyandottes, and we're looking for bids now for our Western National for 2025, and we're also taking bids for our 2027 Eastern and Western National.
Good deal. It's a great club. I was really involved with it in the 90s when it was the Wyandotte Band and Breeders of America. And back in those days, we had some old guys that were really solid in there. And then I think I was secretary for a while. Mike was secretary for a while. And then as things go, sometimes the person that shouldn't be secretary gets appointed secretary, and they've just struggled ever since. And it's a shame because, one of the top 10 breeds in the, in the list, in the Bantam list anyways. And there are always a bunch of them at the shows and lots of good people, but it just never seemed to gel. So we're glad to see it make the turn. And I know I give you all the stuff I had here in this pile of old Wyandotte yearbooks and newsletters. And we did a couple regular booklets back in the day. So they were really good about getting information out at one time. At one time, we had a tremendous website that, that all stuff kind of fell by the way over the years, but good to see it going again.
Yeah, we're working on our website. I'm trying to get a breeder's directory that's going to be available to only members. And then we're also working on uploading all of the archives, like stuff that you've given me, stuff that my dad's kept for years. I'm trying to scan that in and have an archive for people to look at.
If you go to the ABA site, and you're welcome to use whatever's over there, but there's over 800 articles in the Wild Apricot members only part. And I know several of those are Wyandotte articles because they come out of I actually think that Wyandotte Rare Varieties reports up there too. And you're welcome to use anything out of that if you want to.
Yeah. I use old articles that even you've written. I put them back in new newsletters for people to see. It's nice to have the old stuff, I guess.
Yeah, because what we see is nobody's writing them anymore. So everybody wants videos and stuff like this and not so much sitting down and writing things. And even then we struggle to get there were some people that would write, but a lot of the guys that we wanted to write, like Doc and Art Lundgren, and that just wasn't their thing. So a lot of knowledge got lost there.
Yeah, it's sad because I like the paper part of it. I like keeping everything just to look back at later on in life. I like the old standards, all of that kind of stuff.
It's a good deal.
Yep, I think we actually have the Wyandotte breed books up there too. So that's a great reference for anybody starting in Wyandotte. So it's the old APA book they put out that has a lot of great. What I liked about it has all the comparison photos. So what they should look like from over the top and profiles and heads. And it kind of breaks the bird down into chunks a little bit that you don't get in some of the articles and videos anymore. So
right, because everybody learns different. Reading the standard can be confusing, so people like that comparison. Obviously, there's no picture of a perfect bird because there is no perfect bird, but
nope,
have comparison.
Yeah, it'd be a good thing for them, especially the Wyandotte breeders now. Just speaking as a judge, maybe you should go take a look at those birds and how a Wyandotte's supposed to look.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I don't care if you do win champion to show in a Wyandotte. You probably should go take a look. See if yours is anything like the picture of what they're supposed to look like. The underline, the top line, the back angle. I don't think I've ever seen one in there that's correct that shows where the hackle and the saddle meet. Pat, it seems like they should have a back on them to me, but hey, that's just me.
I think back in one of the great things we used to do, and I can remember Ron Simpson dragging me in Columbus from the front where the Wyandotte Bantams were, all the way back to look at that class of 200 large fowl Wyandottes. Well, we don't have that anymore, but he says now we're supposed to be a miniature version of this, and then we would compare, and that kind of got us grounded a little bit in the days when we had the bunny tails and the 45-degree tail angles and some crazy looking male birds. We go back to look at those big whites and and silver laced, and even back then we had buff partridge, silver pencils that were what they should be as far as type wise. So the bantams that were shrunk down and it kind of got distorted a little bit, and we comment all the time, and we have them again. So back in black, as they say.
I know things have changed a lot, even since when I grew up. The Wyandottes have changed immensely, and I don't know if it's for the good or for the bad.
It's not.
Yeah, it's
one
sad.
thing we noticed is they're insanely crazy, where ours were never that way. So we've been working to try to get some of that nuttiness out of the blacks, because I had never seen he brought me down some, and I had them for probably a year down here. And I raised 3 chicks, 2 crooked-toed females and a cockerel. And they were just insane. So he's gotten some other birds and hopefully get that nuttiness out of them, because we never had that when we had it. They were always one of the easier going birds to show.
I wish I could get more youth into it. I feel like the numbers are growing, but they're such a docile bird. I feel like they're great for the youth kids.
They would be.
Get away from.
They actually would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like a lot of handling once you get a hold of them. That's the problem. The females aren't as bad as the males. The males seem to be 2 different types of males. They're either absolutely nuts or they absolutely want to eat your lunch. There's no in between, and I think it's the same thing. I truthfully think that some of that aggression is fear.
Yeah.
As much as anything. Kind of have that kind of a thought process. I'm not real sure. And then again, you have some of them that are just asses. I mean, let's face it.
Nope.
But
a little crazy.
Yeah. They and each color seems to be a little different. I had some whites. I had some whites that a few of them were really docile, and a few of them were absolute. In fact, they were crazier than the blacks. And I never understood that. And then, I go and I've had sober laced, and I never had that problem with the sober laced bantams. Well, I was going over thinking about this earlier on the colors of Wyandottes that we've had over the years. And I'm not too sure that there's anything we missed out of the 20-some colors that are we have had or made about every single color. And not just for a year or two. I mean, years and years. And what has spoiled me on them, I think, is it. A lot of times your memory's not correct, uh, and like they talk about birds of the past. I think the big white Wyandottes of the past. I think of the Fullingtons and the Mows and Paul Roars and them. They would compete and kick ass today. They were very, very good chickens. Now, sometimes in the big coachings, that's not true.
Mhm.
And the same thing in coaching bantams. I think now coaching bantams, uh, if you took the best from that era and the best from this era, we just beat the shit out of them. I don't mean we as in Matt and I mean as a breed.
Overall, I agree with you. I think
Overall.
they're a lot better.
Yeah.
I think so. I started in 72 or 3 with black Wyandotte bantams
Mhm.
and partridge Wyandotte bantams, and they were god awful.
Yes,
You
they
got
were.
you got a best of variety, and you couldn't touch the whites. I mean, the whites just dominated every class everywhere you went, and there was all the colors out there back then. They just had horrible type. So I think like Art Lundgren and Ron Simpson are kind of the two that put the blacks on the map. Art especially, because Art wasn't afraid to share birds with everybody else, and that's the two people I got my original start from, and we kind of
Yep.
worked them up there. So I know that the black Wyandotte bantams are a lot better now than they were then, just because I remember I used to have some old pictures. I'll have to dig them out, but from the 70s, they were old Polaroids, as a matter of fact. But they were just awful combs, awful type, awful everything. And we kind of, and they come from years ago, old Bill Ziegler. I got blacks and buffs from him, and Elton Minnick's dad, Russell. He sent me 25 chicks, and they were supposed to be all blacks, and half of them were partridge. So those were my first partridge that I had got, and they were horrible too. So all those colors have improved just in the last 50 years tremendously. And then we have those little finer things. We had the bunny tail problem in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and to get that pointy V-shaped tail was always a struggle on the females. It still is, from what I see.
Yeah.
There's lots of good blacks and whites out there. The colors have went to pot. Your dad was out of partridge, and I give him the rest of mine, but we worked for 8 or 9 years just to get the partridge back where I wasn't ashamed to show them, because they had
rough right now.
as popular as they was then, they went the other way that fast, just because it's easier to raise blacks and whites. So
I think people look at, especially newcomers, white or black, they think win. So they get the easiest thing. I had silver lace for a while, and I'm just not ready for a pattern because I'm still learning. I showed as a kid, and I don't feel like I learned like I should have, or actually like took in all the information like I should have. So I'm starting over. So working with the whites first and then adding on.
Well, you got a good strain of whites too. I mean, they look more like the old Breadthauer strain of whites, which is what Doc had and got started in. Well, he didn't get them from Breadthauer, but they were from what's his name down there? That
Winterford Moore. Yeah,
Winterford Moore, and they were small, but they were really, really nice little Wyandottes. And I think that remnant was out there, and Connor put a lot together and raised a lot of birds. And I mean, even for a variety like white, that's what you needed to do to get all the gunk out that floats to the top, and have something to breed from. So yeah, you got really good ones, and between his and Brett Hitchings has some really nice whites. They're out there now, and you've got some too, and that's really a good thing.
I think the biggest thing with those, and what they didn't pay attention to for those 15, 20 years, was feather quality. And we would comment judging, we've seen the feather quality go to pot because they get that real thin, stringy feather, and they wasn't really selecting for the thicker, smoother, wider feather. And I think that Connor and Brett have brought that back, because they had, I know Brett has experience. He's been at it, his whole life too. And the birds that I judged at his this year, I was really impressed with, males and female. Usually out there, you have a female line and then got a male line. I actually like both sexes of his. And then I think I didn't judge him, but we got to see Connor's birds at Bath a couple of years ago, and there were lots of nice whites in there. Blacks, I still think are all over the place. Partridge are all over the place, and I tend to be real picky on partridge color, and most people that have them aren't. So I guess that's where.
Well, I'm thankful to have some of Connor's birds now that he's completely done with them. So he's moved on to the pigeon world. So it's nice that I got the last of his.
Well, he's going to get an education over there.
He seems to love it so far, and they're very interesting. He's been sharing stuff with me.
It's interesting, but it's if you come from this hobby to that hobby, it's very different. It's not like a big happy family. Everything's real pigeonholed, to use a bad pun. It's real breed specific. So like they rarely at a pigeon show pick like best of show. They do their breeds. When their breed's done, they leave. And I was at a pigeon show over the weekend. I got there about 7:30, but they started judging at 9, and I'm back on the road at 12:30. So it's not the big event that we have, and there's not very many of them, and they only show in the fall and winter, and spring and summer. Spring they're breeding, and summer they're raising them. So it's a real short season. And it's just a different thing. And if you get into an area where you've got a lot of people breeding what you like, then it's fun. But if you do like I do, and for years I had throwbacks, nobody else showed them. So I would go to a show. I got the only ones there. They touch them, you go back home. It just wasn't fun. So there's my pigeon spiel. Good luck to him, though. So
what's next?
What's next? That's what I was thinking of.
Well, my future goals as a breeder is to work on my whites, and then I plan on adding some waterfowl just to play around with in the future. I have barnyard waterfowl now. I have some geese, some scovies, runners, but I'd like to get in some exhibition. I'd like to work with different things before. My goal is to become a judge in the future, but I'd like to learn as much as I can first, and then in that process.
That's a good
We need to get you to go down to Dustin's for the day. I know when I went out, and there's probably a 10-acre field, and I told Mike, I said, there's more waterfowl in that field than I think's on Lake Erie. There was just everything, and it's weird because the breeds kind of stuck together. So all the runners were over here, all the call ducks were over there, the geese were here, and the varieties and breeds of geese were kind of together. So it was kind of neat to see them all in one place like that.
Good deal.
But
Good deal.
you're in the heart of everybody in the north seems to do better with waterfowl than those in the south. So you're in the spot for it, that's for sure.
Yeah, I really enjoy my Muscovies, so I'd really like to maybe look into those in the future. They're very to themselves. They hatch their own. I'll take it. We had call ducks for a while, and I'll never do that again.
Yep, that's a tough one.
Yeah,
I've never had Muscovies, but I've been around a lot of people that do, and I think it's either a love-hate deal. You either love them or you hate them. I'm on that hate side.
Personalities are nice to have around. They're not mean because I have my 4-year-old son that runs around, and they could care less, honestly.
Yeah, that is true. I love judging them. I've had them. I don't ever want them again. I don't like them. I just don't. Hissing bastards, as I always called them. But as far as judging and a nice duck, they're a very nice duck. And if you know somebody or you like to eat duck, they're a good eating duck. I have pecans. And but I'm just I like the extremes, and while they are an extreme, they're not my extreme. I never was a real fan of them, but like you said, I mean, they'll set on 35 eggs or 30. It's amazing what they'll do, and they'll raise every friggin' one of them. Yep, they will. They really will. So, and of course, the females sometimes they decide they want to leave. I've had the males. Yeah, the males, they can't go anywhere. Them big bastards, they can't get up off the ground too much. But those females.
Yeah, I've had one leave for a month or so and then come back. She shows back up. She goes, I guess I have food here.
Yep. Yeah.
At our old house, we had an outdoor wood boiler, and she somehow got in underneath the big tube that they keep the fire in, and that's where she hatched her eggs. She stayed nice and warm in there.
Wow.
And it was
Smart too, evidently.
yeah, she somehow got in there in a little hole, and there was probably a good 25 eggs in there, and she hatched most of them.
Yeah, they're good mothers too. They're good at what they do.
They are better than my Wyandottes.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll set, but
I never thought the whites were real broody, but the blacks would settle on one egg. The blacks would go down on one egg if they had it, so you had to get them out of there quick. But
shockingly, my best hatching for my call ducks back then was under a leghorn. She hatched them all, and that was wild to me because I never saw leghorns really get broody.
I don't know. I've never had whites get broody. Well, I did. I had rose comb whites, but those dark brown large fowl were best setting hens I ever had. And they're not supposed to be that way, but they were very good broodies. They were like grabbing a chick from an old game hen. They would come right at you, feet up if you tried to get in there and mess with them. But I used to have to kick them out of the way to feed them.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of miss those, and that's why I got the little ones from Don. And I'm, like I said, I'm very happy with these because they're not the typical crazy leghorn. They're very. We'll see how they do if we ever get to the point where we can show them, and I get a bunch of them. But these two are pretty tame.
I feel like that is a dying variety, so it's good to have.
That's why I wanted it, and one of the biggest problems was I never could find any that satisfied me. They either were way too big or way too gangly and whatever. And he put some up for sale before Columbus, and I said, "Bring me a pair of those." I was switching some partridge chanticleers out with him and one of his proteges, so I thought, well, I'm going to try something new because I said these rose combs are going. I had raised a bunch of those last year, and they just got crazy, and so we'll see how these do.
Yeah,
and my other project is what are those ermine Americana bantams? I got a pair of those kind of from a friend. And, I haven't had Americanas for a while. I always kind of liked them, but these are very interesting. We'll see how they do.
I have a lot of those.
Interesting.
Eggs.
Yeah, they actually the Ray hatched some chicks out of these, and before they come to my place, and the chicks come solid white, which is kind of different. They look like a regular white chick, so interesting color. We'll see how that does. And what else? We got the water malls, which are just starting up to lay now, so those are going to get ready to go into the breeding pen. And barred coaching bantams like behind me, I had them for years and years and years, and got rid of them many times and got them back. So thanks to Jack Swanson, I have some more, and I think I have 2 hens and a pullet and a cockerel down in the breeding pen right now. So we'll see how that goes. They up
and running.
It can be up and running in 5 minutes. It's cleaned and ready to go. I always like to wait till after the holidays to start myself because I don't want to deal with chicks that early, and I don't have large fowl, so I don't need them out. And most of the breeds I have, it's better not to get them out real horribly early. So I kind of like February, March chicks if I can plan it. So
I think my dad has 3 hatches out already. He's got
sometimes with partridge you got to hatch when they're laying because they don't like to fit into your schedule, and that's kind of the issues I had with them. They always wanted to lay real early and then late in the summer, and that normal time when I hatched, like February to June, they were all dried up. So yeah, you got to about get them out when you can. Whites, I always found the same way with them. You better hatch them when they're laying because they're not known to lay a whole lot of eggs.
Knock on wood, mine are laying like crazy, so I hope they keep it up.
My young birds, the pullets are laying like crazy. The hens are kind of sporadic, so I don't like to normally breed from pullets, but I noticed when I gathered the 40 eggs laying in there from a couple days on the ground that the eggs are getting a little bigger, so I may be able to use some of them. But the chanticleers, when they start out, they lay a real tiny Seabright egg, so
wow.
They're starting to get a little better, and I got 2 or 3 hens laying, so we may throw some of them together. And the partridge are laying like the plague, so
you'll have that.
Yeah, of course.
Everything you don't want always lays like crazy. And I know Mike's getting ready to fire up here for long too. So
Yeah, we've been putting, well, there's no we. I've been putting pens together. Well, in the case of the coaches, the pens together is deciding what I'm going to breed from, so I can AI. That's almost completely true, I guess. But the whites are I got 2 or 3 eggs past 2 or 3 days, so I got them all situated. I'll probably start AI, and I'm going to wait till after Christmas, and I'll AI them, and then the blacks. I've got a few of them that starting Bantam, so we'll see on them. The buffs, you never know what the hell they're doing because they don't know what they're doing. But I do have I naturally make those, and I do have a couple pens of them together, so they should be good. And I think I collected 6 big black coaching eggs today. So I got the males separated. There's nothing running with the females. So that'll be another chore, picking them up. I don't mind putting them up, but after you got 12 or 13 and you pick each one up and put it in a single pen and go around, I'll tell you at my age, my ass is worn out when I get done fighting 4 or 5 males and 12 or 15 females and then put them together, go, no, that's not right. And then you pick them up and put them in another pen. So, but I'm going to try to have everything done, and hopefully when it comes first of the year, because I've sold quite a few hatching eggs, but I don't ever ship eggs until I've hatched to make sure fertility, even AI, you never know.
Right.
So I want to see, and if weather holds out and it doesn't get like it was 2 weeks ago, I mean, I still cracked ice today, but it wasn't too bad. But if the weather holds out, then I should be good. I'd really like to be all done by the 1st of April, if I can. That's me. I say that, and some color will decide that,
Not yeah. That's always
better. That's what the whites did to me last year. I said I'm not going to hatch until April on the white coachings. Well, they laid like hell to come April. One. I had one hen, and she'd lay 15, 20 eggs and decide to set on nothing, and another hen would start up. So it was that's why I only raised, I think, 18 or 19. It was just what a pain in the ass that was. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how it goes, but a few of those pullets are cranked up, and I learned my lesson last year. If they start cranking them, we're going to have that hatching time of humming. So I was really waiting on Matt to start his up. Then I can have an excuse. I just say, hey, do you have any room?
I usually do, because I got that great big incubator, and I only use about 1 tray a week in it. So if that.
So I know he's always got room, but I'm just waiting to say, come on, man, get at you, man.
Yeah, that he can root them till they're ready to come out too. There you go.
Yeah, I really like that. After they get a month or so old, I go down and pick through them.
There you go.
So. No, that's really good. Well, I'm really glad that you're back in it and you're cruising right along. And
yeah,
I'm glad.
I'm thankful to have a son that's really enjoying it too. He has his black rose homes, and he loves his birdie.
Good deal.
He keeps going.
I know. I have a granddaughter that we just talked to her a little bit ago. Was going out to see her birds. Well, and she's got modern, so that she laid 1 egg and they put it in the incubator, and hopefully they was going to get some more. Well, they didn't get any for a few weeks, so I told them they're going to have to name it Jesus, because they're going to have 1 chick. It's still fertile and viable, but I guess Emily said she put a few more in today. And then we talked to, you mentioned Rick Bond, so Rick Bond got all my moderns, and I think he had 60. He had the incubator almost full. He had to fire up his old GQF to put more in. So he's moderns like the plague in the incubator already. So he'll have a pile of them next year. So sounds like everybody's going good from everyone that I've talked to. And with that, we got to make sure we plug Rogier's poultry supply down there at the bottom. And you said Caitlin was back. I knew she asked me if I needed anything, and I was pretty well set. And I'm sure they're getting busy and hatching time, and the affiliate link, I've sent a bunch of people to that, so that's going good. for supplies and incubators and all their wares. And then the Eagle's Nest will keep that updated as we go. Cause I think, well, I know he's setting commercial birds the 1st of January. And then I think that'll kind of be the litmus test for how well the show stuff starts laying and fertility and everything. So a lot of good thing is a lot of 4-H kids are going to be able to get some decent birds to start with this year and just about everything that's out there. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of nice ones, and then the of course the waterfowl will be a little bit later because January, geese land, ducks land. Now they would, but I think I'm not real sure when the lights are going to come on them. We left them on for a couple of days. I know when we got them in, just so they could eat and drink and get accustomed to everything. But I'm pretty sure that they'll go on a little more restricted timer for a little bit, and then get the breeding feed going through them and get them all hydrated up and everything, and get everything where it belongs. I mean, you could tell on them. I mean, there's all those males and females are together when they're in there, and unlike chickens, the males are paying no attention to the females right now.
they tend to be fertile a little later in the year.
Yeah, so that'll get cranking up before too long. But the exhibition poultry part with them in there, and I think on December the 25th, the lights will come on them for ever how many hours that is, man. I can't remember. 18. What
I run mine I do mine here for 14. So
maybe it's 14 or 16. It's somewhere in that area. They'll come on and I'm sure they'll start cranking because of the same thing. They're on brooder feed now, and their water will never freeze in there. And it'll make a big difference. Same with the ducks. I mean, the ducks and the geese, they've got water all the time. And if you don't have all that, and until you do have all that that's running through, they may start laying. That's probably not going to be a real good thing for a while. You want them to be fully ready and healthy and ready to go. And it's with the weather changing from as warm as it had been to as frickin' cold as it got for the month of November, through the first. Well, actually, it's still pretty chilly, but I think that's kind of hard on everything. Disrupts their systems, and they don't eat as much, and they sure to hell can't drink as much. And once they get rolling, then I think everything will be fine. They're the commercial part. It makes no difference on them. They're shelling out. That's what they're bred to do. They're not bred to just be layers. So there's a little bit of a time lag between commercial birds and the other birds. So. But he's taking orders, kids. Get him in.
Yes, he is.
That's a great opportunity. Kids.
Yeah, and for kids to get exhibition waterfowl, I'm always leery about buying hatching eggs or whatever. I'm not afraid of just about every breed he has over there. Is really nice. He's got some of the best heavy ducks, light ducks, medium ducks going, and he shows them and competes with everybody else. And there's lots of geese there too. So I know he actually has production Emdens, and his exhibition Emdens are second to none. So
same with pecans. We got production pecans and the exhibition pecans, and production Toulouse and exhibition Toulouse. So I'm thinking, I think everything else just about in there is maybe the khakis. I'm not real sure if the khakis are which way they're going. They look pretty damn good to me when I was there the other day.
I think
they go slipping by.
I think the production khakis, I thought he had farmed out.
They're farmed out. Yeah.
Along with
big blocks.
A lot of the production breeds of large fowl chickens are often breeders. So most of what he's got there is his exhibition Orpingtons, Cochins and stuff are very nice. So you can't go wrong with those. That's for sure. Nope.
And we put in a really nice bunch of black Wyandotte bantams on on the Bantam side, he's got quite a few Diucles that look real nice. His cream cores look super. Uh, Barred Rock Bantams, they're pretty nice. The male birds were real nice that we had put in there early. The Leghorns, he's got the rose comb Leghorns in there. He's got single comb Leghorns in there. He's got black rose comb Bantams, and they're not very far off themselves. They're really nice. Brown red Cochins.
Yep, those come from us. But then there's
Yeah.
buffs and brown reds are ours. So
Right. The buffs,
Yeah,
I'm not too sure. He had a little trouble with the buffs, and I don't really have enough females there right now to resupply them, but we'll be building those back up. The buffs are there. I'm trying to think through my head on everything that I had so much stuff go through my hands. It's just freaking amazing to me what it is. And call ducks up the wazoo.
there had to be 500 call ducks on the ground outside when I was there, every color, so, and I would say that, yeah, they're not going to be like best of show quality call ducks, but they're better than a whole lot of shit I see go through the sale barns. So
Yeah.
I think you can get some decent call ducks that way if you don't want to spend a fortune. I think they're what, $6 something a chick or a duckling.
I think so.
Yeah,
think so.
You can't
And
go
I
wrong.
do know. No.
They'll bring that at the auction.
The Snowies got a hell of a flock of Snowies. I was kind of impressed with the Snowies myself.
And I think those come from the original Eagles Nest. That was always their
Yes.
color. Yeah.
Yep, and a lot of them, but about everything you can imagine in call ducks, they have most of the colors there: whites, grays, snowies. I think there's pastels, there's
Blue
chocolates, there's blue fawn. I mean, it's there. So now I think it's going to be a real good thing, and a boatload of cayugas. If there's one, there's got to be 75 cayugas there. So there's a shitload of cayugas, buff ducks, runners, of course.
Magpies, I know you took them back, so I know those are good ones because we had best light duck a few times on those.
Best and reserve a couple of times.
Yeah.
But really nice blacks and blues, magpies. So things are really looking good there. That's about it for there. Abbie, I want to ask you one thing because we asked this to everybody.
Okay.
You have been a junior exhibitor. You're in the open show exhibitors now. You've grown up in it.
Mm-hmm.
Here recently, you've been to quite a few shows. We've seen you at. What's your impression of how things are going? First in the youth part, which you see, and then in general, what condition do you think the exhibition poultry is right now in the? Because your memory is better than ours.
I don't know about
You haven't used as much of it as being 66 years old and trying to cram all that shit in your head. But I mean, what do you think? What's your overall impressions, and what are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward into learning more about how shows work. I ran my county fair for many years, and that was a whole experience in itself. I've had Matt out to judge there a couple times. The youth, I feel like showmanship has changed so much since I've done it. I wouldn't even be able to do it these days. The whole examination, I feel, is different, but I haven't sat one-on-one and watched these days. But I feel like there's a lot of kids that want to do better in it, but I also feel like there's a lot of families that just try to go buy winners and just show that and don't work on the breed themselves. The hobby is to preserve the breed. I just feel like that's being lost. People are in it for the competition, not the preservation.
Yep.
That's my thought.
And one of the things we tried to do on here with the couple youth exhibitors we try to get those that do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see regardless of what stage we had Nate on, and he's kind of in the middle of it, and Ashley's at the end of it. The next one, we're going to have to find somebody just starting that's really going good and actually raising their own birds and not doing what you said, because you got to get past that going and buying them every year, because pretty soon your suppliers are going to dry up if they know you're doing that, because none of us like to waste birds on, we always call them rabbit holes. We don't want to send them into that rabbit hole because somebody else could use them. And I know at our own county fair, which I ran for lots of years, it seems like there's those kids that want to keep them and raise them for next year. And then the majority of them want to dump them at the auction so they don't have to take care of them all winter, which is not the purpose that we're trying to promote. So
I had
if
a
that's
lot of
what
the
to
kids say,
do,
"I just
that's
want female."
fine. Yeah, or that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Mike referred a couple people off to some other people that just wanted the show winners. I want ones that's going to win my fair. Well,
Doesn't work
I've
like
been to a million fairs in my lifetime, and I wouldn't be able to guarantee that with the best bird in the world. So, yeah, those kind of, and then we also have, I think, a lot more now than maybe back when you were in it, because there's more people that were in it, and then now they have kids. But those that want to be a 40-year-old 4-H'er, or like Mike and I seen at Greenville a few years ago, everybody cleaning birds up on Friday was 70 plus, and I didn't see a kid over there till Saturday. So, yep, you got to do the work, and we always emphasize that with you and Emily and all of them. That, hey, if you're going to do this, they're your birds. You put them in, you clean them up, you do your thing. It's not our projects, and I think that's kind of the attitude you have to have. You do have to help them get started.
Absolutely.
And I'm all for that, but you don't do it for them either. There's that fine line.
I'm very thankful because right now I don't have all the facility to have chicks here even. So my dad does a lot for me, and I'm very appreciative of that because he knows a Wyandotte better than I do. And it's going to take me a long time to even get to that point. So I'm thankful to have the help still.
Hey, I want to ask a question about so are you building a new house?
Yes.
So are you building a new barn?
Well, the barn is my husband's because he's a mechanic. So I call that barn the moneymaker. And hopefully we're doing like a 5 to 10 year poultry barn goal.
Right, but before Dad gets too old.
Right.
I mean, there's your carpenter. There's all your pens, because I'm telling you, that man can build pens like they're just absolutely gorgeous. He builds a hell of a carpenter
for me. So I have 2 of those. They're nice and heated, so I have Wyandottes out in them right now, and they're here. But all of my younger birds, like I have chicks that are probably about 2 or 3 months old that a broody hen hatched. He's got those, but he's a better breeder than I am. He's got way more experience, so I'll take the help.
Nice.
Yep, you got to use those resources that are available. That's for sure.
He's got a lot going on. He's got whites, blacks, splash blues for rose combs, and he's got his partridge Wyandottes, and now with the Colombians, and now he's crossing partridge Wyandottes with white Wyandottes just to see what comes out of that. And those are some giant chicks that are coming out of that project. And then he's got the Chanticleer partridge Wyandotte mix going on. So
good deal. Yeah, he's got a lot of work there then.
Yeah. I think he's got about 20 chicks out so far.
Good deal.
Good.
So
Good.
I could be off a little bit.
And he's got a new hip.
Yes, he got half a new hip one side.
Good.
So my mom has been manning the chickens, but he's slowly getting back out there. He got the Colombians a weekend, so I think that was a little bit of motivation to get out there and see them.
That's good because that's a variety that's just kind of went to pot.
Yeah.
God, the last good ones I seen were old Al Zielbarger up in New York had them, and we lost him a few years ago. And I don't know I think Herb Rogers got those, but I mean they were like best of breed caliber Colombians. They were really nice. And then
that's all he raised.
Yeah, that's all.
He raised nothing but Colombians because he called them my only babies. He had no kids or anything. No, he was, and it wasn't a very big coop. It was like a small shed-like thing, but like Enslin had. But I'm telling you, then that he concentrated on them, and his birds.
We have a long way to go.
I bought it.
You more drama than I see Wyandotte, so.
I bought old Al's, had a Rolex incubator, and I had bought it off of Russ Rot, that he would send it back to Russ every year to get it reworked and then get it back. And then the year that he'd give up, he sent it to Russ and he says, can you sell this? And then he called me and I bought it. But he hatched all those chicks and hatched and incubated in one of them little tiny Rolex jobs. So Yep, good memories. He had them. That was his thing, Colombian. So I like to see him come back.
Yeah, we hope so. So
You know, old Doc had them for a long time too.
I think that's one of the
I've
reasons
got
I'm back is just
got
the
some
memory of
pictures
Doc.
of his Colombians.
He was a good breeder.
Colombians. And then the whites, and then the partridge. He
Mhm.
pretty much ruled the roost in those.
Yeah.
So, well, everything he had, he ruled. I mean, look at the Japs back in the day, man. He had
Crevicors. We all talk about
Crevicors.
Crevicors now, but he had Crevicors when nobody even knew what. He'd take them to the shows and they didn't have a clue what they were. So he kind
But
of
they
spoiled
did when
that.
they were champion AOCCL and then champion
Yeah.
Bantam a couple, 3 times.
Yep.
But this back in the 70s, the mid 70s. I thought, Jesus, I had never seen. Well, why would I had seen one? To the Great Lakes show, and here he come. Of course, he was, all the little Pattersons were with him, including Doc.
Old Doc and young Doc. That's the differentiation, I guess.
It was very weird to come back to the show world and hear people call Bill Doc. It threw me off a little because that's not what I'm used to.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, I've called him Billy for a long time. Then once Doc passed away, it took me a while to call him. I've called him a lot of things, but
what we can put on the podcast is
and we can put on the podcast, even to his face. So don't feel like But anyway, no, but yeah, it took me a long time to call him Doc, and and I don't think anything of it anymore. I just do,
right?
Because I'm not calling him Dr. William. But there's absolutely no freaking way up there with that shit. So.
Well, as we get older, he's starting to look like him too. So
yeah, he's starting to look like him a little bit. If he would just get shorter.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah, he's not going to get shorter. He won't get shorter. I'm almost positive of that. So, and his jokes aren't near as good as his dad. His dad was a hell of a lot better jokester.
I learned a lot of things. Doc, when I traveled with him, because he'd have to sit in the back seat with me while my parents drove. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
At a young age.
He was one of a kind. I'll tell you.
Yep. All right, Mikey. I guess we can let Abbie get back to all of her stuff. She's
well. Can I go back
to the house
for just a minute?
Yes.
Is anyone that is a member that is interested in becoming a district director? We are looking for district directors for Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Maryland, and Wisconsin. That's our District 2. We're looking for District 4, which is Kansas, Colorado, New Mexico, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. And then we're also looking for District 8, which is California, Arizona, Nevada, and Utah. So if anyone's interested in helping us out, please contact me because we need the help in those areas, especially Ohio. But that's all.
Okay. Yeah, put that out. We got new club, new operations, and things are.
We're working hard. We have a lot of dedicated people, so I just see good things.
Good deal. Well, we'll see what we can do. Get you someone.
Yeah.
So it was Ohio. What's the state?
To do it.
Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio and Pennsylvania, and where else? Or just Ohio and Pennsylvania?
District 2 is Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Maryland, and West Virginia. So it's a bigger district, but it's a lot of shows.
Well, yeah, but there ain't nobody in West Virginia.
There's still Ohio.
Not anymore. Not many anymore, anyway.
All right. Well, Tom Roebuck's busy, so you're not going to get him. He's dog showing. So
he is a member of the Wyandotte Club, so I will.
Oh yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yeah, you tell him. You ask him. We're still trying to get him on here.
Yeah,
I can't pity. He keeps saying, "Yeah, I'll come," but I can't pin his ass down for an hour to get on here because he
is busy.
I don't know how he does all that.
I don't know how a lot of you do it. Being secretary of this club is enough for me right now.
Yeah, it's.
Once we get the house done thing and I get the breeding situated, I'll have more time. But life first, then the house.
Yeah, yep, that's the way it's got to be, Abbie. That's where you keep your perspective. They're still just chickens.
Try to preserve.
No matter how much we love it, they're still just chickens. There's a hell of a lot more to life. So.
Yep. Because we
Well,
have,
thank you for.
yep.
Go ahead,
Go
man. Go ahead. Nope, you.
Well, we have other hobbies too. My husband is into the truck world, so we travel to different states for truck
Oh,
shows.
I've seen that.
So we have all of our hobbies, so we try to make time for everything, but it's not easy.
Yeah, well, his doesn't need anything but money, honey.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's a fact. I need it for chickens too.
Yeah, I know.
They're not cheap.
No,
I appreciate you
no.
guys having me on. It was an honor.
Oh,
Well,
no
it's just-
problem.
no,
We
it's
enjoyed
just
it.
nice.
And everybody have a Merry Christmas.
You as well.
Yep.
Coming up.
Yeah, I doubt if this is probably it for the week. Maybe we'll try to get one next week. And then as we roll into the new year, we'll have more of these coming. That's part of the problem. Is this time of year everything is compressed.
Yeah.
People are going places. You're still trying to do that, and you're trying to get your breeding pen set up, and you're doing everything. And then of course along comes January, and then there's shows down south. I mean, it never really ends. Which
It
is
might
probably
slow
a
down
good
a little,
thing.
but it never ends.
No,
I'll have to
never
tell
ends.
you this story before we go. So finally, when the weather broke a little bit, I've had my I have these barrels I fill up with old shavings out of the pens, and I couldn't clean no more pens because my barrels are all full. So the other day when it was nice out, I spread it on the yard in a spot I hadn't spread in a while. And this morning, Kathy yells at me, and there's a whole bunch of possums out there going through that. So I have a hell of a crop of possums. From big ones to little tiny ones and they've dug holes in my yard and they're just rooting through all this chicken crap. I thought,
Not good.
well, if I can't raise anything else, I raise possums. And then I seen something new the other day I'd never seen in 67 years, black buzzards. So I guess they're coming this way. So there was a dead deer on this side of the road and a dead deer on that side of the road. And there had to be 100 of these things.
Wow.
And, like with turkey buzzards, you drive by and they fly away. Not these. They were just going at it, man. Some of them were in the road. There was a couple dead ones in the road. Well, and then I got to reading up on these things, and they like attack livestock and everything else. If you read up black buzzards, they're nasty little critters, and we now have them this way. So,
oh, wonderful.
They've migrated north. They kill like baby cattle and sheep and small pets. So. And they're not afraid. So it was different. I'd never seen one before. I had to go look it up because I thought that's the darkest looking turkey buzzard. And, they migrate. They go away in the winter. And I said, why are them turkey buzzards still here? And either that or was a hell of a size crow because these things are huge. Nope. I got home and the DNR had a big article. I think I shared it on our page about black buzzards, black vultures, something else to worry about now.
Hey, and guess what? I just saw where they're so happy that they found the first time in I forget how many years now there are fishers.
So Emily can tell you.
Those like a super ass weasel, baby.
Oh yeah, Emily said they reintroduced them to Pennsylvania a few years ago, much to the chagrin of all the livestock farmers, and then they have migrated to eastern Ohio now. But yeah, if you think a mink's bad, a fisher will kill everything you got in about 10 minutes. And they're bigger. They're about the size of a house cat, if maybe even a little bigger than that, some of them. But yeah, nasty little boogers. And one more thing.
Yay!
I deal with foxes and raccoons right now. Thankfully, they don't come out of the woods too much, but
yeah, you'll always, and when you get the bar, you'll have more of those. Especially the damn raccoons. I hate them some bitches.
Yeah, I don't think we're ever going to have to worry about them being endangered.
No, I tell you what happened to when the price of fur went and everybody was there trapping, but and the coon hunters, we used to be able to, if you shot a coon, it'd be worth $10-15. Well, they're not worth shit now. No matter how big they are. Thank you, PETA. No matter how big they are, they're not worth anything. Well, people quit hunting them. And I'm telling you, I have seen some of the scraggiest, terrible looking raccoons. Used to be there. I mean, I never thought they were pretty. They're not my kind of animal, but they'd be slick and big, because of a selection process. We've done the same thing with deer. That the great big deer, when they quit when they put all the limits on deer. I mean, I'm here, and this is when we moved here, it was a very rural area.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're everywhere, and they're in downtown Toledo. They're everywhere, and it's just amazing how many deer. When we don't have no wolves, do not reintroduce wolves. We have no wolves or anything. Natural predators are all gone. Well, if we're not the predators, well, that's why they get the wasting disease. They get all that other shit. Nothing calls them out. And it's just amazing. Well, yeah, it is neat. It's not neat if you're a livestock owner.
No.
It's not neat if you're driving to work in the morning like Matt was, and
Yep.
one deer decides, there's a big white van. Let me run into it. It's not a good thing.
No, it's not.
But
All
anywho,
right.
enough of that shit.
Yeah.
All right. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry
Thanks for coming,
Christmas.
Abbie.
Thank you.
Keep going. Keep us. I watch your things on the house when you put them on there, and I do see some of the truck stuff, but I go, oh. But anyhow,
It's different. It's not for everybody.
no, it's not. But that's okay. That's all right. So, all right. Take care,
Thank
and
you.
we'll probably see you around New Year's.
Yeah, it'd be
somewhere.
probably. We're going to Pennsylvania we're leaving Christmas Day, so it'll be next week or the week after, probably after New Year's before we come back.
We'll get some shorts. We'll be putting up something.
I like
There we
watching
go.
All right.
TikToks.
Yeah. Yeah, I might put up a few. I haven't put up any TikToks in a while. I haven't been in the mood. So I might do some TikToking. So
There you go.
I like them 60-second things. I can set my thing, do 60 seconds, I'm done. There's no way there ain't shit. Just put it on. Their music comes up, and I put some other music on, and yeah, they're pretty cool. So all right, everybody, take care. Abbie, tell your parents we said hi.
I will. My
Merry
dad will see
Christmas.
this. Sure, he'll be the first viewer.
Good
There you
deal.
go.
We'll think, well,
All
who's
right.
that girl? Goodbye.